And it feels like the air has gone out of the balloon at Old Trafford. The full-time whistle. It's disaster for Manchester United. They're out of the Champions League. Off goes Diego Simeone. There'll be no trophy at Old Trafford this season as the bottles rain down on the Atletico Madrid manager. Their last hope has gone tonight. The inquest will begin. Renan Lodi's goal just before half-time is all it took for Atletico Madrid to win the tie and to win on aggregate. Manchester United tried, but they didn't have the quality, couldn't create the opportunities, couldn't find a way past Jan Oblak. Quiet night for Ronaldo. Pogba didn't make the impact off the bench. There are boos as the referee leaves the field. Bruno Fernandes very unhappy down there. The referee is hearing it from the Manchester United supporters. But Atletico Madrid are into yet another Champions League quarter-final. But Manchester United will make tomorrow's headlines. And the question is, where do they go from here? 1-0 on the night to Atletico Madrid. And they've beaten Manchester United to go through to the quarter-finals by 2-1.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Robbie. Well, a place that's seen so many great moments for Manchester United over the years is reduced to fans throwing missiles at the opposition manager to vent their frustration. The away fans obviously enjoying themselves, but for the fans inside here, considering this is a place built on hopes and dreams, well, the dream is over, I guess. The hope remains solely that next season things can be better, but next season it will become 6 years without silverware. And while they celebrate, so much of the current Manchester United was summed up tonight, Leo.
Yeah, but I think first and foremost you have to give credit to this Atletico Madrid team. Everyone's talking about they're not the team of yesteryear, not the team that was 2, 3, 4 years ago that he's had here with all the great players. But what they showed today is they got a manager who knows how to put out a team to go and do a job. I've seen him put teams out at Anfield, go and do a job. He's done it here again today. They were so clever in the way they'd done the little details of the game, slowed the game down when they needed to. Players going down, conning the ref into decisions, into slowing and stopping the clock. Really, really, really good team performance. Getting back into position as a unit. Losing the ball, nobody worrying about, oh, I'm going to stay out the pitch and try and do anything for myself. Everything is motivated by the team. Everything's about doing what's great for the team. And that fella in the picture there, João Felix, super talent. Some of the touches, some of the moments in the game that he produced were tremendous. But for Man United, season seems for me it's over. What is there to really achieve? I mean, Arsenal floundering behind Arsenal if Arsenal win their games in hand. And tonight was really a reflection of what the season's been like. There's been moments in the game where you go, oh, they look good. Scholes has said it before the game. They looked all right in that moment, but far too often it's Jekyll and Hyde performances within the 90 minutes. You see them good, you see the bad, you see the ugly, and didn't see enough quality today.
No, it was a masterclass in a team, a great team, going away from home and putting on a performance that wasn't brilliant, but defensively, streetwise. You see the manager on the side, you see him, he's asking for a yellow card all the time. The passion. I love watching the passion that comes from him. These players going down, fooling the referee, conning the referee. It's just an absolute masterclass in how to go away from home in Europe and win a game of football. United point of view, I don't think they played badly. I think their effort in a few, in recent games has been questioned, especially the Manchester City game. I think tonight they tried. I just think there's a real lack of quality. They couldn't break this brilliant team. Not brilliant in style-wise and football-wise, but a team with so much determination and concentration and savage and heading the ball at the back. Brilliant. Jimenez, just like brick walls they were.
I suppose in many ways, Atletico Madrid are so many things that this current Manchester United team would love to be.
I'll be honest, I thought Atletico were bang average. I thought that they were there for taken. I think if United would have played better in the second half, I thought they were poor second half, really poor. First half they played well, but they were still down. I thought Atletico Madrid had the quality players at the top of the pitch, and João Felix and Griezmann, which decided the game. But I didn't think they played great, but they played better than United, especially in the second half. And I think for United, when you thought, this crowd was expecting, we were all expecting, and then it just fizzled out, just went flat. So many players out on the pitch that could have decided the game.
But it goes flat. They contribute to that.
Oh,
the way
naturally.
that they play, they slow the game
That's
down.
what I mean,
They're
yeah.
cute in the way that they play. They're clever in what they do, and they make it hard for you. But then, you, as a team, attacking players on Man United side, they have to find a way. Then
Yeah, but
they
Reece,
didn't.
it's like they never watched Atletico Madrid play before. You know, we know they're going to sit in and everybody's going to be on the box. Why you just keep whipping balls in for them to cross into head? At some point, you've got to link and get them out of position, get in behind them, get runners, get the balls from wide position. Every time the ball went wide, it just got whipped into the box. Scholes, he said it, Savage and Jimenez just kept heading everything out. There wasn't many clear-cut chances in the game, was there?
They are not a better team than Man United, but they've got a better coach, a more experienced coach who knows how to get results. If he was coaching Man United go through that game, in my opinion.
And instead they managed one shot on target in the second half when they really needed to turn it on. And now the conversation has to become about the future, doesn't it? It has to become about the coach. And they have to do it now. Sir Alex Ferguson famously said you can't lead by following. And it just feels that this is a club that is following at the moment and it needs to start leading again.
Yeah, listen, I think behind the scenes that the club will be doing their work in trying to find the next person to come into that hot seat. But it's not easy. The managers that you'd probably want are all in jobs and sitting there. So you've got to navigate your way through that. But that's part of football. And that's how teams, they do this, and they've done this in the past. You've got to find the right person.
This is Man United already. They should be able to get whatever manager they want.
Yeah, not Man United now.
Yeah.
Whatever manager they want.
Yeah.
You don't agree?
No, not at the moment, no. I think there's so much work to be done here. I understand it, as Man United, the emblem, it means so much to us. But in terms of if you're looking to come here, it's a great project to be a part of, because you're starting from scratch, basically. But I still think that there's other clubs that managers will go, you know, I might want to go there because the heat ain't on, the pressure ain't on, the spotlight ain't as big.
Yeah, but these big managers thrive on that. There'll be big managers out there who'll be desperate to come in and turn it round. It's a big challenge for them. And there's big managers out there. Look, we can't talk about Guardiola and Klopp. That's not possible. But anybody else in the world should be available to this club.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing when you look at United is the fact, when you watch Manchester City play and Liverpool play, you know 8 out of the 11 players, you know how they're going to play. 8 will play really good, 1 will have a worldie, and maybe 1 will play poorly. For United, at the moment, you don't know who's going to show up and be that 8 consistent players that you need to play at that level. That's why the United team that we played on, Scottish player, and I played on, you knew that. You had 8 guys who are going to give you 7 out of 10, and you had 1 player worldie, Ronaldo. And I think for United now, you don't have anything you can go, that is a guarantee today. Whether it's defensively, whether it's in midfield, whether it's in wide edge, whether it's an attacker. At times you have moments where Ronaldo wins your game, Jadon wins your game, Bruno wins your game, Pogba wins your game. But there's no blueprint. You know, you watch City and Liverpool play, it's always the same. It's always the same. And I think for United now, you look and you think, you're hoping, but it's hope. I
think that's the difference between this team, the 2 teams today. The Atletico team, they had a group of reliable men who want to go out there and will do anything the managers ask them. They understand the job in hand.
Yeah.
They work together as a team. Whereas the other team, Man United, they're looking at each other. Who's going to pull us out now? Who's going to pull a magic trick out of the hat? Ronaldo done it at the weekend. Who's next? Who can do it? It's not about, the team are going to get us through this. It's a moment of brilliance from an individual. Very different way of working.
Which comes from leadership.
Yep.
It comes from a coach that demands that, who will get that out of his players. Look, I don't want to keep having a go at this manager. He seems a really nice man. I love his interviews. He comes out, he's very honest. But how he was chosen to be manager of this club, or coach of this club, whether it's for 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 games, I don't know.
But doesn't that show you that this is a bigger conversation than just about the person that manages the football team and picks the 1 to 11?
100%. It's the whole thing, the way it's put together.
Yeah, but a coach is a massive part of it.
Yeah,
Getting a proper coach for
The
this
biggest
team
part.
is a massive part.
But do you trust that this club is able to do that?
This isn't a terrible group of players. I think if you give the structure and a way of playing, there's some real talent in this squad. Now look, it's not as talented as the teams that are above them. We know that. But the very first thing this club needs to do to get anywhere near winning the league again is get a proper coach. Get a coach that suits them and give them a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, to build a squad of players that will challenge.
I agree with Scorsese, but also you got to think, how did Liverpool get Klopp? You know, how did Man City get Pep? They had a blueprint. They already had structure, and they go, that's our guy. That's our guy. I think for United now, you'd say we all hope who's going to be the guy? Is it Enrique? Is it Ten Hag? Is it Poch? Is it Zidane? Nobody really knows. We should already know the way United play. That's the guy.
That's the thing with City. You don't want to keep comparing, but City were preparing for Pep Guardiola before he arrived at the football club.
Exactly.
And I think that's what Owen's talking about there is Man United. It's almost like over the years, the last few years especially, it's been like, let's just patch up that situation there and hopefully it works. Let's patch up that bit over there, hopefully it works, where it's not a holistic approach, where for sustaining success and challenging for a long time, you need a holistic approach.
Yeah. Well, it is the most expensive squad ever assembled in English football. And perhaps tonight, in so many ways, they still showed the issues that Manchester United need to solve. But it's not easy being a manager wherever you work. Mauricio Pochettino showed it last week. Erik ten Hag has shown it this evening because he is out of the Champions League as well. This is a big result tonight. Ajax have been brilliant in this competition this season. And look at the celebrations for Benfica. Darwin Núñez was the man who got the goal that sent Ajax out of the Champions League. He's been linked with Liverpool, he's been linked heavily with Newcastle. They're talking about a £90 million price tag. Well, he scored the goal tonight that takes his team through to the quarter-finals, much to their delight, and a disappointing night for Ajax, as you can see. Just to let you know that we are going to be live here until about 10:30 this evening, but spend the next half an hour with us as well, because there is so much to talk about. Once again, Manchester United failed to score at home this season, and it's a result the season go out of the Champions League. Where do they go from here? We'll discuss it all, and we'll hear from both camps. We're live until 10:30 tonight. United are out.
Interesting ball by Rodrigo de Paul. There's Joao Felix up there now for Atletico Madrid. Others arriving. Antoine Griezmann. Lodi coming in. Lodi's header. Atletico Madrid lead at Old Trafford.
Well, it was a real mix of emotions at full time here. Atletico Madrid, let's be frank, their defence of the title domestically has been woeful, but the Champions League has given them something to smile about this season. For United, though, nothing to smile about this evening. Let's get some instant reaction. David De Gea has been talking to Des.
David, it's a painful night, the end of the Champions League campaign. I mean, what can you say about it tonight?
They were really disappointed with the result. Well, it's difficult to describe with words how we feel now at the moment, but I think we did not enough in both games to win this both games. We were not at our best, to be honest, but yeah, it's a very disappointed day for us.
You threw everything at them. You were even up front in the last moments. It was a night of tension. United didn't quite get going, did they?
I think they are a team with a lot of experience. They know how to play those games, Champions League games, tight games. They scored the goal, and it's a very defensive team, so it was very difficult for us to create chances. We don't create many chances, so this is football, this is Champions League, and we are out of one of the most important competitions, and so we are really, really sad.
Yeah, as you say, and giving them that goal advantage, that gives them something to hang on to. They're very good at disrupting a game, aren't they?
Of course, as soon as they score the goal, they put the whole team behind in front of Oblak. 10 players there, very defensive team, and it's very difficult to score goals against them, but we try until the end. It was enough to score a goal.
It's a detail, but an important one. Any complaints about the first goal? Because there was a foul on Elanga, possibly in the build-up. Is it just?
No, don't want to say anything about the referee. I think everyone watch it. Cannot say anything that what happened, and we cannot change. So this is football. Like I say, it wasn't enough to beat Atletico.
No silverware again for another season for United. That's going to be 5 years now. It's not good enough for this club, is it?
Of course, it's not good enough. It's hard. It's hard for the club, for us, for the fans. It's really hard. This is where we are at the moment. Difficult situation, and we need to keep fighting, keep trying our best. But to be honest, it's a tough moment again. I feel sad. I feel for the fans as well and for everyone, but we are not good enough.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
well, fair play David De Gea coming out and actually pulling no punches. And he looks really, really disappointed and sad, doesn't he? Quite emotional.
Yeah, he would be. I mean, he was here at the back end of the good times. So he knows what it's like here when the times are good here and things are flowing and seeming kind of like normal in that respect. And he's gone through the whole period of where the club's kind of fallen from the lofty heights that he was at. And he knows what it means to the people here. He knows what can be generated on a night like this. But they never got near that. And we talked about the crowd playing their part. The crowd do play their part, but you've got to give the crowd something back. If you don't give something back to the crowd, then you start hearing a few of the jeers like we heard every now and again when certain players give the ball away. You've got to play your part in creating the environment, the atmosphere, in the stadium like this, on a night like this.
Look, as hard and as disappointing as this is for all three of you and David and everyone else associated with this club, if Arsenal win their games in hand, United will be 10 points away from the top four, and they haven't won a trophy yet again. Is there an argument that when you get to what you could say is the lowest point for this club in the last 5 or 6 seasons, that actually you can find the positives from that? You can use that as a reset. It can't get any worse than this.
I think they need a reset, yeah. I think they've got to stop chasing short-term success. In terms of getting a manager, this one player, I thought they had a great window this summer. You think about Varane, Ronaldo, Sancho, finishing second last year, you think, right, they're ready to take the next step. Didn't materialise, It needs a reset. There's a lot of players out of contract that are leaving. Pogba, Cavani, Martial's future is up on Matic. There's a lot of guys, there's a lot of work to be done here, as we mentioned. So I think taking a step back, stop trying to chase Liverpool, Man City. They're in another category right now. They need to get a lot of stuff sorted out behind the scenes. As Scholes, you mentioned, get a great coach, get a sporting director, get the recruitment right. Who is it going to be? What type of player? What age? You look at Arsenal. They went, right, 24 and under. That's where we're going to go. And look, it took a year in the where they want to be. I think United need to take a step back, start building from the ground up. There's good pieces here, as Scholes, you mentioned, but it needs a lot of work.
People say about how long is it going to take. It's hard even to put a number on that, isn't it? It's hard to put a number
impossible. I think we've had a lot of pain out there. I think there's still a bit of pain to come before we get to where we want to. But I keep saying it. I know lads talk about people behind the scenes. Until we get a proper coach, a top-class, elite coach from another big football team that wins trophies, strikes fear into players.
Wasn't that what Jose Mourinho was meant to bring to this football?
It wasn't the Jose Mourinho of when he was at Chelsea first time round, or when he come from Porto, and it wasn't that same Jose Mourinho. As good as he is, and as great as he's been, and he'll be an all-time great in the Premier League history, 100%. But when he came here, he wasn't that Jose Mourinho.
He'd lost that fire in his belly, hadn't he? He'd lost that fire in his belly. And do you know what? I didn't like it when it happened, because he was our main rival for, 4 or 5 years at Chelsea. It just never sat well with me that he was going to be the right man to take this job on. Do you know what? I'm sure he tried his best. I know he had other problems at the field as well, but I just never felt it was the right stage. If he was at the stage coming over from Porto to Manchester United, then I think it would have been a very different story. I just saw at that stage, it was the wrong choice.
And I think also, in terms of time, you can't put unless you get the right pieces, you can't. Klopp took, I don't know how long, 4 or so years to win the Premier League and to start looking like they were going to win something. But you could see that on the trajectory that there was an improvement, and you could see that was we're back in the right horse here. Man United have to get to that point. And when people talk, go and buy this player, go and buy that player. I think this is, once you get the manager, you have to getting the right person in place. Then you're talking minimum 2-3 years before you can think about challenging. And by the way, Liverpool and City, it's there. It's a high bar now. The consistency with which they play at the moment, the numbers that they get.
I think you made a good point here that 2 or 3, 4 years, it could be that long. Do you know what?
Until what?
2, 3 or 4
until
years.
they win the league, or until they're
challenging for the league.
Challenging.
And I'd snap your hand off for that now. But you saw with Liverpool and City, you saw for them 2 or 3 years, you felt them coming.
Yeah.
You knew they were coming. You knew they were getting better. They knew all of a sudden they were going to start challenging for a league title. We haven't had that for 8 years, 10 years, whatever it is, since Sir Alex went. And there's no sign of it even getting closer to that. It feels like we're going in the opposite direction. Now, it's going to take getting the right man. And the next man might not be the right man. We don't know. We've no idea. But then people behind the scenes have got to make sure it's the right man.
But what it does show you, though, it doesn't matter what players you get together, what collection of players, what talent you get together, you need someone to harness that. You need a manager to come in and put it all together. And that's where the people making the
That's what
decisions.
top-class managers do.
Yeah, they do.
But you know what also, I think, when you look at the club, some of the players they sign, some of the managers they sign, this club, there's a lot of pressure for whatever reason, whether it's because of the history and, what's been achieved here and other iconic managers and players, fair play. But also, it looks like people come here and they feel the pressure. There's been so many names that come through here, managers and players that haven't probably formed to the level that we all would have anticipated. And I don't think you really know
That's
players.
Big clubs, though.
But that's what I mean.
Big clubs, you've got to play with pressure. That's you're expected to win all
I
the time.
100% agree. But you don't know the boys until they're in these situations. Different playing in a different club. You got to come here and enjoy this. You got to come here and enjoy the pressure as a player, as a manager. And you only knows as a player. We knew a player in 5 minutes when it was difficult because you knew if he was there or not. And best players are there when it's difficult. Scholes, knows
that's
that.
part of the top manager's job, though, to bring players in. You think of Klopp, what he does with young players. Just relax, enjoy yourself. If it doesn't work, it's my fault.
Yeah.
So is Ralph Rangnick then
But it doesn't
the
matter
man to be the director of football here?
If you bring in Mbappe and Haaland this summer, United ain't winning the league.
No.
They're not winning the league. It doesn't matter who you bring in. It needs to be from the top down.
So does Ralph need to remain here as director of football? When he took over the club, they were 6 points off the top four.
Owen will know him better from Germany. That's his job. That's what he was good at.
Yeah. But is it a hard job to do when you've taken on the team as the manager and you've struggled like this?
Yeah, I think it makes it very difficult once you've coached and then all of a sudden you go upstairs and, I think this football club needs more football people. Guys like Reed, guys like Scholes, Gary Neville, guys that have been in around this team understand what a central midfield player is, what a defender is, what these fans want to see. Do they fit into the blueprint of, the way the football club wants to play going forward? So I think Ralph is one of those guys, but I think they need more football people, not less.
I think it makes it easier for him to choose someone. He'll know what type of character these players are. If he doesn't know them now, he'll never know them. And he'll know what kind of manager they need. Do they need a manager that they're going to be afraid of? A manager that'll scare him into performances? He should know that. He should be reading that. So from that point of view, I think he's a ideal candidate to be a director and to choose the next man.
Do you know, like talking about fear and stuff like that, I don't know if there's any players that walk in the dressing room after that, or after the game against City, or the games we could mention where they haven't played well, walk down that tunnel and felt the way I'm sure the Liverpool players at the moment feel, the Chelsea players feel, the Man City players feel, the way we felt. Walking down that tunnel when you haven't played well. I remember when we conceded a goal here, Bellamy, he ran past me down the wing and scored. I tried to chip it over a player's head stupidly. Michael Owen scored. I celebrated that goal and was saying thank you because I knew that going in that change room afterwards, I was going to get volleyed by the manager. He was going to go bananas. And I just walked in and said to the manager, thank you very much. Luckily, we won. I got away with it. But that's the type of fear.
Losing a game here is a crisis.
Yeah.
Losing 2 on the trot or something.
Yeah.
It's
illegal.
an absolute disaster.
And what makes you think then that fear has gone from what you see?
It's gone, definitely gone. Definitely gone. It's a different generation. I remember my first game for Manchester United, Man City away, we lost 1-0. At half-time, we're down 1-0 and I was walking off. And Reece sprinted by me, said, Owen, hurry up, get in the dressing room quick, the gaffer's going to go mental. And I thought, what? I'm tired, I'm getting into the dressing room, right? But the fear that the gaffer had not created, but that Reece knew that could come. Yeah, and I hadn't experienced that. And I got in there, but remember, he was calm, wasn't he? He said, lads, you play well, you're unlucky to be down. But that Rio even knew that could come was kind of inspiring. We didn't want to let the boss down. That's how we played.
Do you really inspire young players, though, or modern players with fear?
That's a special talent of a manager. The best managers at the best clubs, they strike fear into you, but at the same time, they can get a performance out of you.
And they put their arm around you when they need to.
That's what the best ones do.
The best managers nowadays, listen, there is that element of fear. They obviously can coach players, etc. But somewhere near the top of that as well, that list of what you need is to be almost like a social worker. Somebody who can talk to the group, who can feed into certain players, not treat it all like a blanket environment. Treat players as individuals at times and who needs what, press the right buttons, and be there as a support mechanism as well, not just on football, on and off the pitch. Then you get players that are walking through brick walls for you.
OK. Well, after the break, we will hear from the man who at the moment is charged with leading this Manchester United team, Ralph Rangnick. It's not been easy. Top 4 is absolutely a long shot for them now. And there is no way they're going to pick up a trophy this season. His actions on the touchline told us so much this evening. Frustration is the word of the night. We'll hear from Ralph after the break. What a night in the Champions League. 2 famous names go out, 2 away wins. That was a goal by Darwin Núñez, which meant Benfica went through at the expense of Ajax. And here at Old Trafford, it was a similar story. An away win for the visitors, a defeat at home for a Manchester United side who toiled and managed just one shot on target in the second half. It wasn't enough. It's time to find out what the man in charge made of this evening. There he is. Ralf Rangnick has been talking to Des.
Ralph, commiserations on your exit from the Champions League tonight. I mean, what can you make of that display?
Well, I think we played a very good first half, exactly the way that we wanted to play. High energy level. Most of the game in the first half took place in their half. But unfortunately, we couldn't convert that energy into one or two goals. We hit the crossbar. We had another one or two good moments where we could have scored or should have scored, but we didn't. And then conceding that one counter-attacking goal short before halftime didn't make life any easier for us. And in the second half, it was difficult. I don't think that the game went for more than 3 minutes in a go. It was always interrupted. Somebody lying on the floor. I think also some curious refereeing decisions. I wouldn't say in the end that they were decisive, but at least he fell too often for those time-wasting antics. And in the end, 4 minutes extra time was just a joke for me. But anyway, very good first half. Second half again was difficult to find a rhythm again.
You threw, I've just been talking to David De Gea, you threw everything at them, 5 subs, one batter was on for Harry Maguire, so I mean, you tried everything, you just couldn't unlock them. Was there a specific reason for that, apart from the Atletico?
Well, we know that they're good in defending leads when they're 1-0 up. We had 1 or 2 moments in the second half after set pieces, brilliant save by the goalkeeper after the header we had, but in total, we were fully aware that it's important against this team that you score the first goal yourself.
The goal, their goal, do you feel the defending was at fault? I mean, you're caught on the counter. There was a foul in the build-up as well. Is that an issue?
For me, that was a foul for sure on Anthony Elanga, but the referee and the linesman didn't see it that way. And as I said, that was the only really dangerous moment, apart from the offside goal that they scored. Apart from that, we defended well. Also, their transitional moments, we were compact. We were energetically on a high level. So, as I said, in the first half, there is nothing that I can blame the team for.
On a bigger picture, you've been here for 4 months. United haven't won a trophy for coming more towards 5 years now. How do you bridge that gap to City, to Liverpool, to get past this kind of stage? Have you got a grand plan?
Well, I think it's now too early. We still have another 9 games to play in the Premier League, and we'll try everything to finish off the season on the highest possible level. If possible, qualify for Champions League again. We're fully aware that in order to achieve that, we need to win most of those 9 games. But right now, to think about how can we close the gap to the top teams is, for me, too early. My focus is on finishing on the highest possible level with this team, and then there is enough time to speak about other things.
Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you.
Is it ever too early to think about how to bridge the gap to the top teams when you're at Manchester United?
No, he's right. You got to focus on this season. His job is to manage the team, get ready for the weekend. They can still mathematically get into the top 4. It looks unlikely with where Arsenal and Tottenham are, but they can do it. If they go on a good run and finish the season strong, they can. But the problem is that will, take a lot of air out of their sail tonight.
Let's have a little look at the goal, including the foul in the build, or the alleged foul in the build-up to it. None of you at half-time felt that the foul should have been given.
I think firstly, this is a great up, back and through, old school. What a pass that is. You know how difficult that pass is to play with the weight. And then this from João Felix, beautiful. Right foot from Griezmann. Absolutely superb goal. Superb from attacking point of view. But defensively...
Yeah, they're all over the place, aren't they? Look, is it Varane that gets dragged out? Maguire's not really sure where to go. Darlow's the one who's got possibly 2 or 3 to look after. Elanga doesn't run back. And it's his man eventually who scores the goal.
But it's just in disarray out there. They're all over the place in terms of the back 4. Doesn't look like a back 4. It's the first moment he sees the player and his head's on the ball and it's in the back of the net before he can say anything.
And what about the foul and the build-up to it, Owen? What did you make of it?
I don't know. As a player, I played there. I wouldn't expect that to be given. I think he's already gone down. He's a little bit off balance. Maybe showing the fact there's a little bit of inexperience. You hope for that, but and that's pressure. You realise you're under pressure. Goal's gone in. Everybody's upset. The manager, Cristiano, but you're not going to get that. I don't think you're going to get that call in a Champions League game like this.
It's likely or possible no Champions League football next season here. What does that mean for this current squad, particularly those players they've bought who play football to play in this competition?
Well, as Owen said earlier, that this squad is going to be a lot of moving parts. Players out of contract, etc. Players that aren't going to be, they're going to be surplus as well to requirements because they've not maybe done good enough or hit the levels that they should do. And then I'm sure there'll be players coming in. And the recruitment is going to be key. But I think a key part of it is from top to bottom, from the owners to the people that are running the club, all the way through, is to start thinking not commercially first. I think we've seen that a lot of time where there's a lot of talk and about commercially how well the club's done. You don't hear that at places like, we keep going back to it, it kills us to do it as Man United ex-players, but City and Liverpool, you don't hear them talking about the commercials. On the field drives everything. Get success right, challenge on the field, and everything else can breathe out of it. And that goes to with the players as well. Get it right out there, and everything else takes care of itself outside the pitch.
And what about the power of communication? Do you want more from the Man United hierarchy about what the plan is, what they're doing, what's going on behind the scenes, or not?
I think that's up to them. We don't really know. They might have the manager already lined up. Who knows? I don't know. They might have already other players lined up. I don't think they have to tell fans. They don't have to tell people what they're doing, what they do. Their business, it's their business. That's how other clubs run. I just think once you've got a very good coach and a very good team, things just become so much easier. You know, behind the scenes, you don't hear anything. You don't hear anything coming out of dressing rooms because everything on the pitch, the most important thing in a football club, is going right. Now, this club on the pitch at the minute is a mess. So you're going to hear all this stuff about unrest in the dressing room, players aren't happy, players are storming out of training, players are refusing to turn up for games. And that's going to happen. And this is going to keep on happening until, I keep saying, they get the right coach. And until they get the right coach who will settle the club down, he'll settle everything about the place down, on the pitch especially, but with that comes settling everything down behind the scenes. And they might not get it right this time, as I said before. Yeah. It might be another two or three times, I don't know. But they've got to try their very best to get the best man possible as soon as they can.
Yeah. And finally, what do you want to see from here till the end of the season from this Manchester United team?
Fight.
You got to fight. You got to stick together. Scholes, you mentioned all that stuff. Got to stop coming out of the dressing room. You got to stick together. It's an honour and a privilege to play for this football club. Show that these fans, want to support you. But Reed mentioned you got to put a shift in. So they got to show that on the pitch. It's there for them to finish in the top four, and they got to do the job. That's the only way it happens.
Very good. Thank you all very much for your company this evening. Just to remind you that there's more from us tomorrow evening, more from the Champions League, including a big night for Chelsea. They will hope to make it through to the next stage. And let's be honest, they already have one foot in the quarter-finals. They take a 2-0 lead to Lille. 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, BT Sport 2 will bring you that one, kicking off at 8 o'clock. And it's on the knife edge between Juve and Villarreal. 7:30 on BT Sport 3 tomorrow. And the draw for the quarter-final Friday, 10:45, BT Sport 2, but it will not be a draw that features Manchester United. This evening, Atletico Madrid came and did the business. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Stay where you are. A brilliant documentary about the life of Meatball Molly comes next. Good night.